Hello and welcome to this new video. In the previous videos, we implemented and got our project running on EOS and Steam with EOS Plus. In this video, we will start a new topic, which is to set up our project on Steam as the default platform. It's important not to confuse Steam as a native platform. For example, Steam is a crossplay platform, with Steam as the default platform. In this section, we consider that you will distribute your project only on Steam. If you followed the previous section, I mentioned that features like crossplay on Steam can be integrated into your project, but I didn't implement them because I want to focus solely on Steam in this section. The goal is not to explain the same thing twice. You can therefore follow this section to finally adapt your EOS Plus project by including many more Steam features. In this video, we will configure our project to target Steam as the default platform. It's important to note that we're not creating a project from scratch. Our implementation with the Easy OSS plugin works for any OSS, we just sometimes need to adapt certain features according to the restrictions of the target platform. To get started on Steam, we need to follow the documentation for the Steam plugin. In this section, I'm using my own Steam app ID. If you're developing with app ID 480, I cannot guarantee that you'll be able to test some of the advanced features we will explore in this section. The first thing to do is to duplicate the EOS project to adapt it for Steam. Once duplicated, rename the folder in a way that reflects the target OSS. As mentioned in the previous section, we cannot launch multiple Steam clients on the same machine. So, I want to remove the clients and keep only one client for the local Steam account. I encourage you to follow the video on setting up a second Steam player with VMware, as it will be crucial for this section. Go to your config.ini file, we will adapt it for Steam. Follow the documentation to copy the necessary configurations. You can follow this link to create your own Steam app and get an ID. It is recommended to update the Steamworks SDK for Unreal Engine, as mentioned in this section. To do this, you first need to download the SDK from Steamworks and then follow the instructions. Click on the link, then download the latest version of the SDK. Extract the downloaded zip. Copy the extracted folder and paste it into engine/source/third-party/Steamworks. Depending on your engine version, you should see an existing version of the SDK there. For me, it's 1.57.
Paste the copied folder.
you must rename the folder so that it is Steam V followed by the version number without a dot. Note that Steam should have a capital S. Open the file steamworks.build, and you need to modify the version declared in this file. Once modified, save and exit the file. If you're unable to save, you need to click on Override to save the file. As mentioned, you now need to copy these files to the following locations. We will now proceed with the project configuration. As mentioned, you should have a file named steam_appid.txt containing your app ID next to your .upproject. When you package your project, you need to copy this file so that it's next to your executable, otherwise, you won't be able to test your package game. Create this file and put your app ID inside it. Copy these configurations into your config.ini file. I first want to remove the EOS configurations. Replace 480 with your own app ID. Since we are using sessions, we set init server on client to true. I've noticed that with the net driver configuration provided by this documentation, connecting to lobby sessions is not possible. Instead, you need to use SteamSocket as the net driver. To authenticate with Steam, we need to copy this configuration. We need to enable Steam networking. I'm adding additional configurations that are not mentioned in the documentation. Here, I'm replacing the ID 480 with my own app ID. I'm changing the verbosity of the online logs. modify the client file by setting the correct path to the project. I do the same for the dedicated server file. Open the project and then enable the Steam plugins. I first want to disable the EOS plugins since they are no longer used. Type Steam, and then enable the plugins. Type online, and check that these plugins are enabled. Restart the editor for the change to take effect. The first thing to do is to replace auto-login with task login. For Steam, we authenticate with the Steam application, not through the command line during development. You can leave the creds empty. We need to remove the EOS sanction check after the client connection, as it will later be replaced by the Steam ban check. To test the game on Steam, you must have the Steam application installed, and you need to log in with a Steam account that is part of your Steamworks application. You can watch the EOS Plus setup video with Steam if needed. To install it, simply search for Steam on the web to install Steam on your PC. In your Steamworks, you must have at least 2 admin accounts to use for testing the game. This can be done in the Users and Permissions tab by clicking on Invite User. Steam does not work in the editor's viewport. However, you can launch the game as a standalone game or execute the client file. Here we go, we successfully launched our game with Steam, and we can see the social overlay appearing in the window. The connection with Steam is working fine, however, we can't see the character in the level. This is due to the player card info being collected via the account interface in Unreal Engine. As I mentioned in the previous section, Unreal Engine provides 2 interfaces to interact with the client account: the account interface and the identity interface. The account interface is not implemented by the Steam plugin, so we need to collect account info via the identity interface. We'll do this in the game instance when creating the player card. In your game instance, go to the Get Player Info function, then replace the Get Player Account function from the account interface with the features of the identity interface. Everything is good now. I also want to modify the player card structure, as there are fields that are not related to Steam, such as the US product user ID. I am also removing other fields since the account interface is not implemented by the Steam plugin. Once modified, click on Save All. Note that all these files that reference this structure must be compiled, otherwise, you will encounter errors when packaging the project. In the Player Info widget, we need to adjust the content according to the change in the player card structure. I delete these entries from the designer. Go to the master player controller. We need to fix the implementations using the EOS product user ID from the player card since this field has been removed. It is used in the voice chat implementation. It's worth noting that the Steam plugin does not implement the voice chat interface, but it uses a Steam audio service. We will see later how to use it with the Easy OSS plugin. For now, just refresh the structure. We will remove this implementation later. I want to compile the other files that reference the structure. Note that this is not required for the project to function, but without performing this action, the project packaging will fail. Launch the game to verify the implementation. Make sure Steam is running in the background. Here we go, everything is working fine. We can see the player's name and Steam ID. The auth type is empty because this feature is not supported by the Steam plugin. Also, Steam does not support logout because the client's authentication to the game depends on their connection to their Steam account through the Steam application. You can remove this from your project. Reminder: Set Friend Invite policy is not yet implemented by Unreal Engine. Its presence in the Easy OSS plugin is for future releases of the editor. I now want to copy the project to the VM to test the connection of the second Steam player under VMware. Launch the game in VMware. The second player successfully connected to the game via Steam. Everything is working as it should, and our game is currently playable on Steam. We will continue adapting the project for Steam in the next videos. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.